Good morning, welcome to Paper Talk.
Over the next few minutes or so, we'll be taking a close look through the sports pages to see what's making the headlines this morning.
And here to help us is football journalist Jessie Parker. Good morning to you, Jessie, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you guys?
We are very, very well, thank you. And we start with quite a big one, actually, because it's Cristiano Ronaldo. Right, how about this? The Daily Express write that he's offered his services to Paris Saint-Germain. Now, what's the background to this story, Jessie?
Obviously, this has kind of taken United a little bit by surprise. They were under the impression that, he was kind of coming back. He was happy with everything. He'd had a conversation with Erik And then over the past couple of weeks, it's obviously transpired that he's looking to move out of the club. He's now not on their pre-season tour officially because of family reasons. And it seems like, he's kind of linked to anyone who will have him at the moment.
It's an interesting story, but can you really see a situation where you've got Ronaldo, Messi and Mbappe all in the same team next season? Because that's the situation that PSG would be facing.
I mean, watching Messi and Ronaldo in the same team, I think it would either be fantastic or absolutely hilarious, because I think they're two players whose egos, I'm not sure if they will mesh well. And obviously, PSG have moved on from Pochettino brought in Christophe Galtier, and ostensibly they're going to move away from this big money, big spending thing. So I don't really see why they would then be looking to add, a piece to this puzzle who's, perhaps even more difficult to work with than some of those players who are already there.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at this article now. I've got it up in front of me now, and it seems like it originated from Le Parisien, of course, a French publication. And you mentioned there he's being kind of offered to anyone who will have him. The fact is, with Cristiano Ronaldo, Jessie, everybody wants him, but not everybody can afford him. So what other options does he have?
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's kind of been linked to Chelsea and Napoli. I think the Chelsea link would be a strange one because Thomas Tuchel doesn't seem like the kind of manager who, again, would want that. Ronaldo's a player who now needs a team entirely built around him. Napoli don't seem to have the money. Bayern Munich have looked at him and said, no, he doesn't fit there for us either. There's a club who I think we're going to come on to talking about who maybe they should be looking at him. But again, it's just the money thing. And obviously that's been part of the rumour, right, is that the reason he wants out is maybe because he's got a pay cut, because there's not Champions League football, etc., etc. I mean, it seems strange that that's the case, given that he knew there wasn't Champions League football on the last day of the season, and now we're 2 months along. But, there we go.
Yeah, we'll be watching this one very closely and seeing how it develops. Now, according to the Daily Telegraph this morning, Newcastle could be about to break their transfer record to sign a player from La Liga. What's this one about, Jessie?
Yeah, so it sounds like Newcastle are in for Real Sociedad striker Alexander Isak. People might remember him from the Euros last summer, where he impressed for Sweden off the back of a great season for Real Sociedad in La Liga, and Arsenal were kind of looking at him at the time as well. Obviously, they've now moved on and signed Gabriel Jesus, but now Newcastle are keen. It seems like he'd cost over £50 million, which is quite a lot, but the striker market is a tricky one at the moment. There's not a lot of these players around who have kind of the top level experience and are young enough to kind of justify spending that money on. He scored 17 goals in La Liga the season before the Euros, but only 6 last year. So I don't know how, it feels like a bit of a risk, right, to bring in a player like that to the Premier League. We've seen kind of players struggle to make that adjustment sometimes, but at the same time, he's young. And, we've seen Liverpool kind of do this with players who've maybe underperformed in the seasons before and have therefore been available on less money than perhaps, Real Sociedad would be asking for if he had gone and had another, 20-goal season.
Yeah, I'm just reading the article now. It says that Real Sociedad want big money. That's a quote there for Isak. But it does say that Newcastle are trying to do a kind of buy now, pay later deal where they put a down payment down, then pay the rest later, which happens quite often, actually. But you'd think with the amount of money Newcastle have, they might be front runners because they could maybe pay it in full. That doesn't seem to be the case with this particular deal. Is there anyone else who Newcastle are targeting, another forward?
Yeah, they've been linked to a couple of players, and I guess this is the question with the Isak deal. It sounds from the article that they kind of feel like this would be all of their budget. So I guess the kind of question for Newcastle and Eddie Howe is that one piece enough in that attacking lineup? But they've also been linked to Bayer Leverkusen winger Moussa Diaby, Chelsea striker Armando Broja, although it'd be interesting to see if Chelsea are looking to sell. He's had a lot of interest from clubs like West Ham, etc. And also Everton midfielder Anthony Gordon, who again has had a lot of interest, but Everton don't necessarily seem like they're willing to sell. So this might be a case of, finding a club that they can do a deal with and kind of going for the player for that reason.
Well, staying in the Telegraph this morning, England take on Northern Ireland in their final group game of the European Championship on Friday, if you haven't already got that noted down.
And the Telegraph focus on manager Sarina Wiegman's blueprint for her squad. What does Tom Garry pick out in this article?
Yeah, this is a really good read. I think it's really interesting to see how Wiegman has combined, obviously, a lot of different things to create this England team who have been really impressive, obviously beating Norway 8-0 in a record European Championship win. It seems like for Wiegman, there's time for play and there's time for focus. So on the play side, sounds like there's lots of sing-alongs. There's been Grease mega mixes, ABBA, the team really enjoying themselves there, playing basketball, things like that. But then in terms of when they're training, it's kind of short but very focused, lots of tactics focus on the pitch. Seems like under Phil Neville, there was a lot more of kind of sitting in the classroom rather than that kind of direct practical application of tactics. And I think also under Phil Neville, it often felt like players kind of mentioned there was a lot of focus on maybe the physical aspects of the game and less on the tactical aspects. And it seems like under Wiegman, really focusing on, say, how England pass through the midfield is something that's a real priority to her. And look, it's clearly paying off right now.